Hey there folks, how are you? Welcome back, hope you had a lovely weekend. We are on day 61 of Lyndall's Luscious Limberings. It is very nice as always to have you join me here in my lounge room, in your lounge room, wherever you are. Today we're going to be doing something which is a little bit of a slower warm-up for the Monday. Our first day of the week is always a bit more to do with mobilising and dynamic stretching. But today we're going to be doing a lot of Tai Chi inspired moves. Now it will be a slower pace, however, depending on how much you invest in the work and how hard you push yourself physically, it won't necessarily be that you're working less than some of the more faster warm-ups. That's actually the benefit of this work. You're going to be working both the internals and the Qigong and the external, which is the Neigong. Like I said before, I'm not a Tai Chi teacher nor a Qigong teacher. This is stuff which I've been taught by my teacher Faisal Mian and that I find useful for warming up as an actor or a stage combatant. So this is stuff I'm sharing that works for me. I would encourage you, if you're interested in this work, to actually find a proper Tai Chi teacher, Tai Chi master, because I'm only giving you a very thin film of my knowledge compared to theirs, which is like this. With that in mind though, this is what I offer to you now. So before we start, I am going to get you, before I put the music on, to find feet hip width apart. Now I've talked about, quite often we talk about the weight distribution on the feet. Just to clarify again, when I'm talking about the ball of the foot, I'm talking about this bit along here, where the front part of the foot and the heel at the back. So you can have the ball of the foot underneath the big toe, about there, and the little toe about there, and the heel there. That makes a tripod. But when I say I want the weight in the ball of the foot, I mean equalize between this bit and the heel in here. So just place the foot down on the ground. I hope you weren't lifting it up like me then. And try and get a sense of where your weight naturally is. So mine tends to pull in a little bit, so I feel more pressure over the ball of the foot where the big toe is on the inside versus on the outside. So I think I've talked before about, rather than trying to think about rolling those ankles out, for me a lot of that pressure is coming from the tightness which extends all the way up here, all the way, and actually to do with what's happening over the pelvis. Actually, if I'm honest, probably also what's happening up in the rest of the body. It's almost like the whole body is connected. But in the simplest terms for the moment, I think about the pelvis. So while I'm feeling more pressure on the inside than the out, if I think about broadening across the pelvis and widening this direction, that actually equalizes the pressure of weight for me. I don't want to think about trying to pull the inside up because that's actually creating more tension, but I do want to think about relaxing the outside down. So that's something for you to play with. If you have tension across the pelvis, which of course is where upper and lower body meet, it can affect a whole bunch of stuff across the body. So it's good to also get someone, a physical therapist of some sort, physio, osteo, chiro, acupuncturist, apologies if I've missed your profession, myotherapist, any of those to help with that if you're finding some of these areas are hard to shift because it can be a lot of tension. Anyways, sorry, lots of talking, but that's the foot to start with. Okay, so let's put the playlist on. 3, 2, 1, go. And so finding that hip width apart. And bend the knees. Now, I know my pants are a little tight, or trousers if you're in the UK. But when we say bend, we don't want the knees to go past the toes like this. As you're softening, just think more about softening the knees as if you want to sit on a stool that's behind you. So I'm not bending, I'm softening. And if you look down, you should still be able to see the toes crowning around the knees. And that's the same as even if I was out in a wider stance, I'd still see those toes crowning around the knees. Otherwise, if you go past that point, biomechanically you're putting more pressure on the soft tissues around the knees, possibly even referring up here or down to the ankles, which is going to do more harm than good. With all of this work, it's better to do small and correct rather than try and smash out something big and have a deformity in your shape. So hip width apart, a reminder, That's hip width. Soften the knees. And think about where you have to broaden across the pelvis so that you have an equal weight between both points on the ball of the foot and the heel, so that there's a tripod and it's even. And just think about relaxing your heels downwards into the earth, and the foot isn't pulling up from the ground, it's spreading out into the floor. Your belly button is sinking deep into the center of the earth. While it's doing it, the top and the back of the head is just passively wants to float up and touch the ceiling. So while the belly is sinking down deep into the floor, the head wants to rise. So you've always got these extending directions. Actually, you are extending in all directions as a sphere. But for the simple moment, let's just think about up and down. Breathing deep into the belly. Now try not to do this by forcing it. Have the sense that you can, like you've had a tight corset, someone's ripped it off, and everything's just now hanging out. So give yourself a round Buddha belly. It's okay, you're at home. Round Buddha belly, forwards and backwards and sideways. Until the air can passively come in, center in the belly, and then it can be taken out again. And then, as I said, other times, a nice imagery that can help release down to here is to imagine you're breathing in through your feet, comes up through your legs, gets to your belly, and breathes back down again. So, one breath in, and one breath out, and in. Going in your own pace, of course. Now, as you breathe, imagine there's strings on your fingertips. Someone draws the arms forward, doesn't pull your body forward, just the arms come forward. Then the elbows are heavy, then the wrists are heavy, and you breathe out. Each time you bring the hands forward, it's like the butt sinks down a little bit more, the sacrum sinks down, or the coccyx does. And as you push out, you can almost imagine the top of your head's lengthening that little bit more. Good, and as we do other times at the bottom, just blossom the hands out. So while you're doing this exercise, take your mind around your body and just find the areas where you're tense and start to have an exploration as to where they come from. If you're actually tense over the knees, you might have to chase that up to the pelvis. But if you're tight over the front of the pelvis, maybe you have to chase it around to the small of the back or the glutes. You might even have to chase it around to the front of the abdomen or even over the diaphragm, which you might have to chase up to the neck or the back of the head. It's going to be different for everyone. So, well, I mean, of course there are some chains, some fascial chains, and of course if you're going with Chinese medicine, which I don't know much about at all, but there's the meridians as well. But for you yourself, you can start to have a curiosity about what parts of your body are linked in terms of the tensions. And now we're going to reverse the direction, breathing in and down. So as the hands are going up, you can really feel like you're letting that coccyx drop deeper down to the floor. And the next one, we're going to go all the way up to the ground
gather from the floor. The butt sinks, we rise up. And out. So you gather to breathe in. And breathe out to express. Go in your own rhythm. Make sure as you rise up, that butt can really drop down towards the floor. Even though your fingertips are floating up, the shoulders are sinking heavy, so they're deep, going deep into the shoulder joints. The shoulder blades are sliding down the back. And just coming to center. Hands forward. Roll under. Breathing in. And on feel to breathe out. Draw the breath in from under the legs, up the legs, into the belly, and express out. Back of the head lifting. Shoulders nice and heavy. Good. Now we're going to reverse the direction. So roll in, breathing in, and breathing out, express. Good. Bring the hands down. Breathing in. And go all the way down. Hands blossom at the bottom. Sink the butt and rising up. Shoulder blades sink as you go up. Bottom sinks down towards the ground and breathe out to deflate. Really nice. We do this one quite often now at the bottom. Just turn the hips. Make sure the knees are bent. The butt sinks down. That's what makes you rise up. Turn at the top from the hips, not from the shoulders, and deflate to go down. Head nice and heavy. Make sure the knee bend stays the whole way up. You shouldn't be feeling any tension on the knees as you rise up. If they are, just make sure you unlock them and don't turn those hips quite so far. Beautiful. The next time you're at the ground, then just change direction. Sink the butt to rise up. Turn the hips and down. Good. When you hit the bottom this time, breathe out to expel the air. Then breathe in. Breathe into the space between the spine and the muscle wall on the back and allow the air to inflate you up. And go down. Let the unfolding, the folding down of the body deflate the air. And breathe in to come back up again. And in your own time, keep rolling through. One more time, down and up.
this one. Okay, we're going to go into a horse stance now if you can. So the full horse stance is 3.5 feet out. 1, 2, 3.5. If that's too wide for you, go narrower in. It's absolutely fine. But as I said another time, this will amplify where you're tight across your belly, across your hips. The temptation will be to do this. So what we want to do is start to find where we're tense so that we can relax in a way that lets the butt start to drop straight down towards the floor. If you suck your belly button into your spine, you can absolutely give yourself a flat back. And like I said before, if you're going in offline movements, it's actually quite good to have that kind of support. However, you also want to be able to find it through release as well. Now, as you're going down, make sure these knees are staying no further than the toes. You can still see make sure you can still see the toes crowning the knees. And we want this, which takes broadening across the pelvis, not the idea of pushing the knees out wider. So just see if you can find that first and start to have a bit of an explore around the body as to what's inhibiting that position. Could be things such as the sternum needing to relax. Good. Now the hands are going to come up. We breathe in. As we turn from the hip here, it's like a spear moves here, which makes everything else rotate around the body. So as I move, the hand that's moving this way turns to wipe, and the other hand turns towards the heart. So we breathe in, we breathe out. Rotate from the hips as far as you feel comfy. Then you can keep going with the shoulders, but make sure this hand always stays in front of the heart. I'm not moving this arm around. The only reason why this hand is moving is because it's attached to the shoulders. This shape stays constant. Breathe in to come back. And then we change the direction. As you turn around, there's going to be a temptation to want the butt to arch upwards up the spine. So really think about the feeling that sacral spine area, the coccyx, is relaxing down into the floor as you turn. So don't even just turn and get there and try and work it out. As you turn, have the feeling it's relaxing down. It can help to imagine the thighs are hollow. And if you want to work harder, bend the knees more. But not so far that you end up putting your knees past your toes. Top of the head lifting away, floating up towards the ceiling. A few more, just find the comfort here, she says. Good, keep in this position. Now we're going to go to the archery one. Breathing in, breathe out, pull, elbow stays high, broaden across the chest. Breathing in. Now you can really let your legs sink wide over this. Breathe out. And really now relax the sides of the butt cheeks so that the coccyx, the sacrum, can hang down towards the floor. Soften across the sternum. Let the shoulders sink down, so we're not going like this. They're relaxed down. And there's a feeling that you're pulling on a bowstring. That's why this arm travels out this way, not down. So you're trying to pull on a bow. Which is why it's one of my favorite, because I think it's cool.
Breathing right deep into the belly. Make sure you soften those muscles over the bottom of the abdomen. Softening across the flexors. Soften the backs of the knees and the backs of the thighs. Beautiful. From here, we're going to roll down. And rolling back up again, inflating the spine with the breath. Deflate, going down. You're really, each time you're going, you're really trying to stack one vertebra on top of the other with finite resolution. So each time you go, think about it stacking more and more individual vertebra rather than clumps. Last time, down and up. Good, okay. Coming to our hip width again. And bend the knees. Float the weight to the ball of the left foot. I'll do the opposite. Breathing in, breathing out. Go in your own rhythm for this. So I'm going to breathe in to rise up. I place the heel down. I breathe in. I place the toe down. Or the ball of the foot, sorry. The weight is in the ball of the foot at the back. Now let this leg be isolated from the rest of the body. So don't let yourself rise up and down like this as you do it. In fact, as the leg rises, feel like your butt's sinking down. Relax through the belly. Breathe into the space across the small of the back. Good, changing across. Transfer the weight to the ball of the right foot now. Sink down, rise up. Now try and keep your head looking forward. Don't look down, look at your feet. And remember the distance to the side should be as far as it is to the front. So you're making a square. The hands can be wherever you're comfortable. To work harder on this, you need to go down lower. But only do that if you've already got good strength in the calves and the knees, because you'll start to get pressure over the front of the foot, the knee here. Good, change back. Sink to rise up. And pull the toes back, pedal kick. Sink the butt down. Again, don't let the rest of the body rise and fall with it. Soften down the sternum. Let the sternum relax to touch the small of the back. The chin is tucked slightly, the head is lifting. Let the gut contents pour down the supporting leg through the ball of the foot deep into the earth. Release the front of the belly. So knee goes up and heel goes out. And we're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reverse the direction. So when you're holding, rather than thinking about trying to push up, think about extending out. Keep the toes facing forward, so don't wing it out like this, particularly if you're a trained dancer. We want this. Good, and change. Sink down, rising up with the leg, pushing out. Now reassemble the rest of the body, lifting up through the head, sinking down through the butt. Relax under the shoulder blades. You might be tensing them with the effort. Let them slide down your back. Coccyx wants to touch the ground. Breathe deep into the small of the back, let it fill with air.
soften across the sternum, unclench the jaws. And we're going to hold, so extend out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse the direction. Beautiful. Just go back to the other leg. Sink down, lift up. Without committing the weight to this foot, put the heel down. Then put the toe down. Still empty. This is the yang, this is yin. Empty, full. Weight's in the ball of the back foot. There's nothing in the front foot. It's just resting on the ground. Now transfer the weight from the ball of this foot into the ball of that foot. And it will be a smaller movement than what you think. Most of our weight's in the ball of the front foot. I've just pinned now the heel at the back. Now from here, let's put your hands in your hips. This is the qua, the inguinal crease here. Just want you to close it. Now I'm closing it, this is very important, with the hips. So I'm not doing this with my shoulders. I've made a unit, hips, shoulders. I'm just closing this. Now do that again, but now make sure, with, try not to look down too much, that your knee doesn't divert to the side. It stays still. Now I'm going to open to the 45-degree angle, and that knee stays still. So as I close and open, not only do I need to think about the movement that's coming through here, I want to think about what I have to relax in my body so my knee doesn't drag across like that. If you have dodgy knees, do this super small, really small, but this will actually help to train to stabilize the knee. So even if you're not haven't got dodgy knees and you want to find it first, if you find that you're diverting and you can't work out how to relax, just go to the point that you can do and stay there. And a final piece of this puzzle is to keep your nose facing forwards, which is hard, I know, when you're trying to look at your knee. So the weight's in the ball of the front foot, but you've pinned the heel of the back foot. Your belly is relaxed. The butt cheeks feel like they're sliding down the backs of the legs so you haven't got a banana bend in your back. You're opening and closing across the qua, the inguinal crease, using your hips. Your knees stabilizing. Your nose is facing forward. Just in case this is frustrating for you, this is harder than what you want it to be. And I know this because I learnt this when I was already a movement professional, and it's difficult. So give yourself permission to muck it up. You can also take this away later on and just have a go at it in front of the mirror. Good. Now we're going to go back into what's called the sit back position. So now the weight's in the ball of the back foot, and I'm going to pick up the toe. And I'm going to do the same action, but now I don't want this toe to wiggle like that. I want to keep the toe facing forward. All the weight should be in the back foot. Don't put any on the front. I keep the nose facing forward, and most importantly, it's the hips that are moving and not the shoulders. This is fantastic for opening up your hips. Just take the moment now to let the space at the small of the back drop down towards the floor, because you probably arched it. You're probably also tense across the front of the sternum and across the shoulder blades and the tops of the shoulders. You might even be clenching your jaw. Just saying. Relax that belly as well. If you do this for a couple of minutes every day, it's gold dust for really opening up the hips and the knees. But please be aware, just close it up, when you first start doing it, you are going to get pressure across the tops of your knees and in your calves while you're building up the muscles, which might leave you open to injury, for example, if you're running or jumping. So please just roll that out, heat pack it, see someone you need to, because it takes a good number of months for this to start to strengthen. That's the strength side. So this is why also when you're first starting, heel goes first, toe. When you're first starting, it's really important that you work small. Okay, transfer the weight. So all the weight's in the ball of the front foot. I'm extending from the heel of the back foot, chin slightly tucked. Just take a moment to let the butt cheeks slide down the back. Relax across the sternum, soften the jaw, let the belly hang. And we're going to close with the qua and open. Now there's not a front to back movement on this. I'm not doing this. This is staying in the same place, and it's like my hips are organizing around it. So again, just take the moment to find out what needs to be released, what needs to be engaged to keep that knee still. And be aware I'm working on this too. I used to do this every day for ages, and I'll be honest, I've forgotten for a while, which is probably why my hips are tightened. So remember, work within your limits. If just going this level is what you need to do right now, then please do that. Definitely take this away to a mirror or a window that you can look at so you can see your whole body do this. And if you want to see someone do it properly, look up Faisal Mian from London, Finsbury Park, Faisalmian, or Michael Acton, Acton, on YouTube. They do it properly. Good, now we're going to sit back, put the toe up, and open and close. The weight's on the ball, not the heel. If you put it in the heel, you're going to put a lot of pressure through the knee. Tuck the chin, lift the head, soften, open and close the qua. Let the sacrum hang off the spine. Well, the sacrum is the spine. Let the pelvis hang off the spine. Let the sacrum hang off the rest of the spine. Keep steady, don't rise and fall, stay at the same height. Okay, good, bring it back in. And just gently take the moment to feel your legs. Good, we're just going to bend in hip width again. And we're going to do what we did the other day. So moving the hips. Doa D position, turn this one up, turn. Breathing in. Bring the elbow towards the nose, turn at the hips, keep that one unit. As you breathe out, you rotate both forearms. Remember, I'm only moving from the hips, not the shoulders. Don't let the knees distort. And even though I'm bringing the elbow towards the nose, it's not like I'm busted to get there. I'm going as far as I can before the shoulder wants to rise up. Because you're only doing this properly if the shoulder's sinking down. This is another one that's good to do in front of a mirror. Really think about, again, letting that sacral spine extend low. Beautiful. And just to finish off, let's just roll the shoulders. And rolling forwards. Good. And just start to, a little bit of twisting through the spine, nice and free now. Beautiful. Reaching up towards the ceiling, rolling down. Just take yourself into an A-frame. And gently pop out one hip, then the other, nice and easy. And swinging. Good. Come into center. And bend the knees and come up and bend. Again, this time just bring the hands forward and keep going. Good, back down to the floor. Take yourself over to your left leg and just stretch out.
stay there. Just going to do some bending, so bend the right and up. Good, across to the right leg, just stretch to start with. And I'm just going to bend the left leg, so bend and straighten. Good stuff. Just put your hands down, pop the leg back, and just let yourself sink straight into a down dog. So rather than walking through it, that's the end of my playlist. I don't know what Spotify's going to come up with next. So just the forefingers, let them be parallel with each other, the thumbs outstretched and about the thumb width apart from each other, thumb width apart from each other when they're outstretched. And lift the butt towards the ceiling. You might find strangely that your legs feel a little more flexible, even though we haven't done anything much. So lift the butt towards the ceiling. Try and put the thighs on the wall behind you while you're trying to touch the ceiling with your butt. And just down to all fours, just arching up and down. Stay arched up, just ease out the pelvis a bit. Good, tuck the toes under, back into a down dog. Walk the hands into the feet. And one, look forward and lengthen. I lie, do two of those, so relax down again, look forward and lengthen. And down, bend the knees, rolling up by breathing in. Stacking the spine. Great. So, that's the end. I would like to think that if you would just take a moment just to move around, you might find that actually things are just open and flowing a little bit, which is pretty cool because considering we haven't actually jumped around or anything like that. So this is just another way of warming up. If you're having a day where your energy is a little lower, but you still need to get a move, quite often if you start with something like this, your body will be ready to move by the end of it. So if you then have to energize, you can. But if you're not about to do something, so if you're at home, you're having a day where you're feeling sick, you're tired, you're unwell, just doing this kind of stuff can still actually keep the body mobile. In fact, it can actually help restore the body. So it's just another technique of going, even if you're having a down day, you can still do something which is really lovely for the body. And also, as you might hear, it's fantastic as a vocal warm-up because it just releases the whole body through. So yeah, thanks for indulging me. We might do a few more of those coming up now because yeah, we're all bashing out some some more intense stuff on during the week. But other than that, thank you for staying with me thus far. And I might carry on and do a little bit more, but I better stop recording now, otherwise it will take 6 weeks to upload this. In the meantime, lots of love to you all. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to others.